All right, good morning, guys. Today is March 21st, and as usual, we'll be going analysis of our analysis for US 30, gold, and EU. So going back, so the only trade currently I'm in right now, so I'm testing out a sell on EU. Right now we are in a supply zone within a supply zone, so you can see this higher shade of red within this supply zone. So that's where I'm in the sell down here. We do have news at 10. Just 1 second. Okay. We do have news at 10 a.m. today. That's the consumer sentiment, I believe. No, existing home sales. And then we also have Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen speaking. Excuse me. So ideally when Yellen speaks, so Yellen is ideally, it's kind of opposite from Powell. Normally when Yellen speaks, sometimes you have reversals in the market when Powell speaks. So Powell is the chair of the Federal Reserve. So for him, ideally, he says positive things about the economy. So more times than often when Powell speaks, you have bullish momentum in the market. Yellen is the Treasury Secretary. So I'm pretty sure like for today, she might be talking about the financial crisis in the market. So I know previously before Powell, Janet Yellen used to be the Fed chair lady or chairman, if I'm not wrong. Let me see. Let me just confirm that because I don't. Yellen. Yeah, because if I'm not wrong, she was the chairperson of the Fed before. Yeah, so she used to be the chairperson of the Fed, I think, during Obama's reign. So if she'll be talking about the crisis or some of the banks failing, we might see a reversal in US 30. However, during yesterday's analysis, we did have two supply zones for US 30. So we had two pending sell or three pending sell orders sent in the Discord yesterday. So if we go back to the Discord, in indices, we had a pending filler sell for US 30. And this one did hit take profit for 50 pips. And then we had the second one and the third one. So with these trades that I send in the Discord, they're intraday trades. So if a trade does not trigger before the day is over, if you still want to enter it, just use proper risk management. And if you remember during yesterday's analysis, the zones we had for US 30, so we had this zone right here, and you can see today we don't have it in our charts. Anyway, in our charts. So yesterday during the analysis, I did say that when they come back up here, they're going to break this because they had already tested this zone. And this was the last zone holding US 30 from going back up. So this is the second filler trade that also hit take profit. But of course, I'm not going to count this because I think it triggered during London session. But the first filler trade, of course, also went straight to take profit. Let me see if I can remember which one it is. It was this one here. I remember this candle. Short position. It was around 320, I believe. Let's see. It was 32,303, and it got filled to the pip. So 303. There it is. With a 50 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit. Went straight to TP right there. The next one was this trade right here because it was in the middle of a channel, went straight to take profit. The third one, if you did enter, because it was three trades, I would have hit stop loss. But again, we don't take those trades if the day has ended. So that last supply zone that was lastly here yesterday, we did say that when US 30 comes back around this zone, they're more than likely going to break US 30 to the upside. So we did have a sell zone yesterday, and that was the last saving grace for US 30. And today you can see we don't have any supply zones for US 30. So the next supply zone for US 30 is all the way between 32,952 and 32,739. So it's like a 200, is it two? No, that's a 2,000 pip. or I'll call it 200 points, 200 point zone. So this is the next retracement for US 30. However, if Yellen is speaking, and she will, or they will more than likely be talking about the financial crisis in some of the banks, I do anticipate US 30 coming back down. So right now for my alerts, I do have EU alert to alert me when EU has crossed the 9 EMA to the bottom. So right now I crossed to the bottom, crossed back up, but I'm still holding this sell for EU. US 30, I have that alert set here so that I get an alert when US 30 closes below the 5 minute on the 9 EMA. So as you can see, and like yesterday, I did talk about one of these days we'll have a test for these alerts. So if you're looking for a reversal to even be safer, right, we need these alerts to fire, because other than just drawing a trend line, so I can see this possibly being established as a higher high. And if I go to the 1 minute, you can see that it's already established as a higher high. So if we're counter trending, of course, we come in there and draw a trend line as such, right? But to be safer, we want to know when price closes below the 9 EMA. That's number one. So if we look at this whole trend, since the trend started, we need a closure below the 9 EMA and retest of the 9 EMA. So this was during London when this whole trend started up. So I wouldn't, this is 32, 242, 32, 299. So I wouldn't consider this as part of where you'd have started to look for a reversal or a sell, because you ideally need a strong momentum to the upside on the hourly. And this ideally was only a 40 pip zone. So I'd consider a trend for US 30 like 200 pips continuously without reversing. So 249, let's say, would start at 449, the trend is still going up. So between 249 and 449, other than here and this one, I wouldn't have started looking for any sells here, because remember, we still had sell zones in here, and we knew that this was the last saving grace for US 30. And I did mention during the analysis yesterday that if US 30 were to come back up here, it would break this to the upside. And we did catch a buy on US 30 yesterday. We caught what, 3 wins on US 30, 1 loss. So I was already out for the day in the market. So right now, after US 30 broke this last saving grace that we identified around this zone, it's been going up and up and up, right? So if you're looking for that reversal, instead of chasing and FOMOing to sell, I mean, if you would be selling in this whole trend, you'd have been also in massive drawdown, right? So at the very least, wait for price to close below the 9 EMA. So the first time it did was on this candle, right? So for our strategy, we need a closure below the 9 EMA. We need a retest of the 9 EMA and closure below. This candle next here didn't close below the 9 EMA, just closed ideally along the 9 EMA. So you want a perfect confirmation. So here, sure, it closed below, but price just closed along the 9 EMA, and this is a bullish candle. So you keep waiting until your signal or your alert fires. Here again, price closes below the 9 EMA. What happens during the next candle? It fires and closes above the 9 EMA, and there we go. So right now we need to see what happens to the next candle. So it's fine, we just wait. So the next candle, short and close above the 9 EMA. So you're not looking for a sell. We need a closure and retest. This candle right here closed along the 9 EMA, so I'm not going to count that. But even though you count this as a closure below the 9 EMA, the next candle, bullish engulfing candle, still no entry. So this is why I'm testing out this new strategy so that's what I use for EU right here. So EU, no, so for this one for EU, I just entered the filler sell because we're in the sell, we're in a supply zone, but I also have an EU alert set to let me know when price is closing below. So for here for EU, same thing, right? You could have done the same thing during this whole trend. So trend kept going up. This was during London. Let's see how big from the bottom. So this one was 0.51. This one was 3. So sure, this could have been part of the trend. If you did enter a sell here, so the first time closed below the 9 EMA, this next candle closed below the 9 EMA. It's kind of a bullish. So either way, if you entered any of these trades, and this is a counter trend, so of course you're not using a big lot size to start with. So if you went for 20 pips take profit, 20 pips stop loss, you'd have gotten stopped out whether you entered because this candle closed below the 9 EMA. The next candle closed below. It's a bullish candle, but you know, it conforms to that strategy. So you'd have been in profit like 5 pips, and then price retraced up and stopped you out. If you wanted to wait for actual another confirmation, close below the 9 EMA, retest of the 9 EMA and closure below, if you entered that position, of course you'd have gotten stopped out. But because you're counter trending, that one would have been a small lot size, and then you keep waiting, because a lot of people, when you get stopped out, for example here, you keep trying to catch the sell, and you can see nowhere up until here. Let's see for EU up until, and for me during news, I'm not going to close this trade. I'll just let it play out. So during this time, this is the first time closure below the 9 EMA, retest of the 9 EMA and closure below. But for me, since I already saw this supply zone, I set a sell order up there. So ideally with that strategy, reversal strategy, this would have been the trade right here. You'd still be in the trade because ideally our trades is 20 pips stop loss. Some of these trades I go for 50 pips take profit. So 20 pips stop loss, 50 pips take profit. Especially if it's a counter trend, because I'm trying to catch a bigger move. And you see with the 20 pip stop loss, your stop loss is protected by this sell zone right here. So this ideally would have been the entry if you're looking for that confirmation. But for me, I entered early because I was looking for, I saw price is at this zone, and I divided this zone into 3, 1, 2, 3, have my first filler sell there. But this, with that strategy I'm talking about, this would have been the confirmation. You'd have gone into drawdown, but you can see where price is rejecting from. Now, if you're, I don't want to say smart, but if you've been listening to my strategy, you would have seen,
Damn, bro.
you would have seen that I don't know if somebody just blew their account. Anyway, if you follow my strategy and you entered this sell, and you saw price reverse back on you, and then you see we have a supply zone up here, you could have scaled in and entered a bigger lot size here. And then if price is coming back down, you can either close out this and close out part of this and leave the major one running. But in short, that's the trade I'm in. For me, this supersedes this. So the supply zone within a supply zone, or demand zone within a demand zone. And because I draw this on higher time frames, it supersedes price closing below the 9 EMA. Now, when I see price closing below the 9 EMA right here, it just gives me more confluence that my trade is valid. So I'm just going to leave that to run. So that's the only trade I'm in right now. Gold we caught. So gold yesterday, if you remember, for those who are on the live session, the gold played out exactly as I drew it. So here,
What's that US 30 sell real quick?
US 30 sell. Okay, so for US 30 sell, you need to wait for this candle. So the sell would be on the close of this candle, because we have bullish, we have this bearish candle that broke below the 9 EMA, closed below. This candle is testing the 9 EMA and testing the trend line. Perfect trade. Okay, so this would be the sell for US 30. Let's see, give me 1 second. So I haven't entered it yet. I just want to mark it up. And given that I haven't analyzed it, I want to see how far this stop loss will be. So I'm not in the trade yet. In any case, I'll enter when it comes back down. Let me go to the 1 minute. Okay, trend line is holding. I'll go to my chart and then I'll enter this one, but I'll not use a standard lot size. I'll use half of what I use. So you can see that we might come up and retest the trend line, right? So remember, our entries are either retest of a trend line, retest of the 9 EMA, or retest of structure. Let's see if I got filled in on that. So I'm using, so I'm using half of a standard lot size that I normally use. But you can see these gaps, right? This is what you don't want to see. These gaps to the upside. And given that we have news at 10, and we do have some trend lines to the downside right here. So that is perfect for me for this trade. My stop loss is a little bit around, I think my stop loss is here. But we'll just let that trade run, but that would be the trade. And you can see it's closing, it's breaking above the trend line. Yeah, so this would be that trade because you have the closure below the 9 EMA, retest of the 9 EMA, and closure below. But again, we have news. So I'm in this trade, but with a small lot size. I got filled in a little higher, so I did not enter this trade at the bottom. I entered somewhere around here. So I'll just let that trade ride. Whatever happens, happens. So I'll go back to gold. Yesterday, during analyzing gold, let's see, arrow, I saw this inverted, I'm sorry, not inverted. I saw this head and shoulders pattern on the 1 hour. So if you guys remember me drawing this, drew that, and then price had come back down, I believe. Price had come back down here. And then we had this left shoulder here, we had the head here, we had this neckline right here. And then we had we had two demand zones right here, right? So what I did, I sent a pending sell order for gold, and that thing went straight to profit yesterday. So this was it. Sent this gold pending buy at 1972.3. Price was down here in that demand zone because what I'd analyzed is that, okay, we had this 30-minute bullish low, 30-minute bullish high here, and then price hadn't closed above the 9 EMA. So what I was envisioning is that price will close above the 9 EMA and line up with this 30-minute demand zone. And that's exactly what happened. Price came back up, closed above the 9 EMA, and literally filled us in, closed above the 30-minute bullish low, and we had that push to the upside. And then what happened is that price went up, created that right shoulder. So remember, it does head and shoulder pattern. The shoulders don't always have to be aligned like exactly at the same place, but you can see this shoulder right here. So this shoulder came right here. And then I think the people who caught shorts for gold, I think Dean was one of them. And then look at that, a perfect head and shoulder pattern. I did not catch the sell, but we caught a perfect buy for 50 pips, no drawdown or anything. And actually gold went up like 100 pips. So, and that trade I did go in heavy yesterday. For me, US 30 is back in profit. So for me, these trades, that's why I just let them run. Whatever happens, happens. If my trade lines up, I would rather lose a trade and I'm losing because of my strategy and my strategy made sense. So for me, I got filled in a little bit above here. So right now I'm at break even unless my MT4 froze again. Nope, it's not frozen. And you can see we go to the 1 minute, right? Retest of the trend line, right? So ideally you want to look for optimal entries. Retest of trend line, retest of structure. Structure would have been this lower low, or retest of the 9 EMA. But this is perfect. We have news in 10 minutes. Now, the worst thing about this news is that they can stop us out and then drop price back down, or the best thing is that the trade goes straight into profit. Anyway, so gold, I don't have any entries for gold. These are the zones for gold for me. But you can see how this is the 30-minute time frame. Let's go back to the 5-minute. So right now, these were the entries for gold. But right now, we're in a downtrend for gold, right? It's just creating lower lows, lower lows. So for any buy, I need price to come back up, close above the 9 EMA right here, and go to the upside. But right now, I'm not looking for any gold entries. And right now, if you look at the hourly chart, so remember what I've always talked about. Assets normally or instruments complete structure. So I see gold coming back down to around 1927, 28 area. Lowest 1884, 1886, 1918, 1917. But remember, the final target for gold is around 2070, 2050 area. But right now, unless I get a sell for gold and we have a supply zone right here for gold, which if price comes back up here, it looks like it will align with the retest of the 9 EMA. And at that point, I might enter a sell on gold at around 1968, which also would align, in my view, with this 200 EMA that's coming back down. But right now, I don't see any entries for gold that we'll have during the live session. Now, here's the thing. If you want to trade news, you can set pending sell limits right here. So either pending buys, to take price up, but I wouldn't set pending buys just yet because price can fill you in and shoot back down, given that we have a possible completion of structure. So the only pending order I would set on gold right now is between 1969 and 1966 area. So ideally half of that zone, I would set a pending sell on gold. There you go, US 30 back in profit. So no need to panic or anything. So just so remember, when you're 20 pips in profit or 20 pips in profit for any of my trades, set break even 20. So yeah, so this trade was up about 10 pips. If you entered when I entered, when price
I
was
got in a
around.
little before you. I just stopped at a break even though.
Okay. If anybody entered when I entered, because personally I entered, I think around here, because I did not enter exactly, but I'm not gonna drop my trade. I'll just leave the ideally official quote unquote trade on there. But personally, I'm up 15 pips. News is coming. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. Let's see, EU is still running for me, and it's around break even. So EU for me is coming back to an uptrend channel. So that's good for me. That's good for a sell because price is breaking towards the right, but it's breaking into an uptrend. But right now, ideally no trading before 5 minutes before news and 5 minutes after news. So I'm just gonna hold off and see how this trades play out. So personally, I'm not closing anything. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. Now, what's gonna help me is any trend lines I have. So right now on my MT4, I definitely have a lot of trend lines. So that's what I'm looking. If I get stopped out, I can see a place where I can recover from, but let's just see how this trade is going to play out. But I do see US 30 dipping. But right now, remember, we don't have any of our primary confluences. We don't have any bearish zones. We don't have any previous daily zones. So the only thing that we are in this trade for is break of the 9 EMA and retest of the 9 EMA. And remember, nothing is stopping US 30. If US 30 breaks this, nothing is stopping US 30 from going to 32,700 to around 34,000, no, 33,000 area. So yeah, so just keep that in mind for this particular trade. And definitely for this particular trade, do not extend your stop loss. If you get stopped out, you just take that L and leave. Because for this trade, I can see an older version of myself trying to extend my stop loss, and then I either blow my account or I get stop hunted. Now, if we do get a bullish hammer candle, I will be taking a buy. Let's see if this candle, that's 27. No, that would be a 20 pip wick, so I wouldn't take that. All right, so it's 6 minutes before news. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask. As we wait. All right, so for E, you can see prices closing below, closing above the 9 EMA, so we're just in a consolidating environment. But so this is one of the times. So I know gold and EU haven't been moving together in the past, but right now, if so they ideally should move together. But we discussed why gold was ideally moving up when EU was trending down for the longest time. But if they're to move back together, if I'm seeing gold go down, and maybe this is when now they actually start moving together again. I'm also seeing I'm also seeing EU going down. And for EU, if EU breaks this zone, you can see the next sell zone for EU. So if EU breaks this zone, I would be looking for a buy, because you can see this is not a big zone. This is a 50 pip, or no, a 7 pip zone. So it's not that big of a zone. So EU can break that. So if it breaks and holds, EU can keep going up until 1.08418 zone. All right, so the 9 EMA is what's holding US 30. Again, if that breaks, possibly US 30 will trend to the upside. All right, so what I'll do here, so since we have an established lower high, I'll attach it to there so that we have a static trend line. So we don't change this. The only time we will change this if needed is on the 5-minute, because we trade on the 5-minute. I used to trade on the one, and there you go. This got established as a higher high. So that's perfect for this trend line. So we just need this trend line to hold on the 5-minute, and excuse me, if it does establish a lower high on the 5-minute, then that's the only time we move this trend line and have it as a static trend line. But so long as we don't have a lower high on the 5-minute, we stick to the lower high on the 1-minute. That's right here. But here you can see that price, let's see what happened. Price closed along the trend line. The next candle closed above the trend line. Now, how to know when price is going against you? If we see a perfect retest of this trend line and closure above, then that's when I would say close your trade early. But since we haven't seen like a perfect retest of the trend line, because this ideally this 1-minute candle just closed along the trend line. But I would be looking to see a retest of this trend line and closure above for me to switch to a bullish momentum. So remember, this is a counter trend. So it's a counter trend A because on the 1 hour, US 30 is bullish on the 1 hour. On the 5-minute, price is above or is ideally above the 9 EMA. Is it above the 200 EMA? Yes, above the 200 EMA, above, well, around the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. So US 30 is still bullish. This is definitely a counter trend. We have 2 minutes to news. So not looking at gold today for now. Unless gold comes back up to the 1968, 67 area, then I would be looking to short gold. So let's see what happens during news. So again, I'm in only with half of a standard lot size. So if I hit stop loss, I'm not really going to lose much. Yeah, so other than that, we'll just wait for news to pass and see how that goes. 530. So my entry is right here, 531. So this was ideally where you'd have entered at the break and retest, but 531, that would have been my entry. So the reason I used half lot size or half a standard lot size is because of news. So ideally, normally I don't trade. So even for this EU trade, that's why I didn't send it into the group. So I do not trade before New York Open. Well, I'm not gonna send you guys trades before New York Open, but if you looked at the Discord, I sent the EU markup. So if you saw this zone right here, which is where I entered that sell, it's ideally some of these trades are up to you to enter. If the trade aligns or if the setup aligns with our strategies, it's up to you guys to enter. But the only time I'll send trades in the Discord, like filler buys, and look at that gap to the upside. Filler buys or filler sells or buys and sells is after New York Open and ideally after New York Open. So I normally don't like to risk my margin before New York Open because I've been burnt before, and then during New York I see some good entries and maybe I don't have enough margin to recover the whole loss. So I just prefer to trade after New York Open. So that's why I'm not really, I don't send trades before New York Open. Before news, when I enter a trade, I use half of a standard lot size, and then I just let it run from there. So EU, not too much going on for EU, and I'm on the 5-minute chart. So US 30 is the only thing. And we definitely have a trend line right there that's holding price up. So I did see some indicator here, like a trend line indicator, but I really don't want to apply that. But if you guys, and of course my MT4 froze, but so long as this trade is in profit, I'm still in profit. I'm sorry, I'm still in drawdown. There's this indicator trend line. It's the trend lines by Lonesome. I forget their last name. It's the one that has 5,000. I think that's downloads or something. But if you apply it, it will just draw a bunch of trend lines on your chart. Oh, maybe it's not that. Actually, that's not the one. It is. It was one of this. It's not version 2. Maybe it's version 2. No. I was testing it out yesterday. I mean, it was pretty good. No, it wasn't this one. It was the other one. I don't know why it's not showing. So trend. So it's definitely this one with the 5,000. I wanted to enter a sell on you because there's definitely a trend line right here that's holding price down. I could have entered that, but it's fine. I'm not in a rush to force anything. I want to show you guys this trend. I could have sworn that it was this one. Huh, interesting. But that's if you don't mind any lines on your chart because it just has a bunch of lines. With break, no, it wasn't the last. I'll go. So your trade, if you're in, trade should be coming back, and we might be getting an inverted bearish hammer candle. Wait, give me a second. Let me check this on MT4. 567. That's 25 pips. So that week is gonna be 25 pips. So I wouldn't consider that an inverted bearish hammer candle. I'm literally trying to find this thing. Okay, I mean, I'll try and find it later, and if I find it, we'll go over it tomorrow. But I think this was the one. Yeah. Oh well. All right. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But yeah, this was definitely the one. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe for US 30, I just have to go. Let's try and change this. So trade should be back in profit. I'm back in profit personally. If you're still in, oh, there it is. So I had to change the time frame. So I changed this to 10 bars and 10 bars. Show old lines as dashed. So I just changed that in order to have just straight lines. So this is if you want, you don't mind on, and there you go for that dip. Perfect. So I'm up 20 pips. If you're still in, see it came close to a stop loss. Yeah, but this trend line, it's not the same as the MT4 one because the MT4 chart and this chart is different. Again, even on TradingView, you normally have a lot of charts. Literally, if I entered that trade here, I would be up like 60 pips. This is how I miss out on trades, but that's fine. Because even on TradingView, you have different charts, right? So you have currency.com, you have Global Prime. So if you don't mind having these diagonal lines on your chart, you can find this indicator. So it's trend line by Lonesome. So it's the 5,000 one, the one that has like 5,000 downloads. So let's just use it for today and see how it goes. And let's see if it's been respected anywhere in the past. So it looks like it was respected here. I just changed this setting to 10 so that I can be able to view it because when we left it at default, and there you go, full TP on that cell for US 30. Because when I left it at 30, or maybe I was oh, okay. So 30, it still shows some trend lines here, but when I set it on 10, for me personally, it's full TP because I got in earlier. If you're still in this trade, set break even. So it looks like if you want it to show the recent trend lines, set it around 10 or maybe 5, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so just set it at around 10. And then you should be, so let's play around with this trend line indicator and see how it goes. I have full TP on that cell. Again, you know, this is one of those tests for a trader, and there you go, full TP. Holding on to a trade even with this drawdown. So I did see, let me give you guys a glimpse of my MT4 right here. so that I show you guys the importance of not deleting your trend lines. So for me personally, I recommend drawing trend lines on MT4 and so stop share. So let me share my preview for MT4. I recommend drawing trend lines on MT4 and then not deleting them. So this right here, if you guys can see the snipping tool, look at the, so this is where I wanted to, because I was in drawdown, right? Because my trade, I entered the sell around here. So I saw price around here. I wanted to sell, but I started looking for that trend line tool, but it's fine. You know, the important thing is to learn so that you guys can be able to see. But you can see this trend line, I drew it, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and these two trend lines have held. So I wanted to enter even with a bigger sell size because ideally I was anticipating US30 to drop, and you can see I would have made, and when if I would have entered here, I would have entered with a big lot size, and you guys know the big lot sizes I trade. So I would have made an easy 4-figure trade right there. But anyway, just to show you the importance of trend lines and how you can use them to make money or recover from trades. Okay, so full TP on this sell taken. Let's see how EU. So EU, if any, I don't know if anybody hopped in. So this trade has been playing around break even after the live session. So if anybody hopped in, even after me, you should be up. So this is 50 pips. I'm going for 50 pips, but right now, if you're going for 20 pips, so this was 816, so 616 would have been, so this trade went about 15 pips in profit. So you can start setting a break even. So look at that. So this is rejecting from our trend line. Now, if this closes as a bullish hammer candle and closes above this, it might be 66. Yeah, it might be, if it closes as a bullish hammer candle, we can take a buy there. Remember, we haven't lost a bullish hammer candle buy at any given time. Let me share this screen again. Oh, never mind. That's the same one. Let me know if you guys are able to see the trading view screen. So we can because we haven't lost any buy for a bullish hammer candle. I think we've taken like what 8 or 9 trades. All of them have hit take profit. So, but remember, we expect US30 to drop. Personally, when Yellen speaks, and what I'm
EU look
anticipating.
like a bullish hammer coming too.
I'm sorry.
EU looks like a bullish hammer developing too.
Yeah, but see the EU trades, I trust those more on US30 because for those bullish hammer candles, I want to be in and out quickly. So I want to go for like 20 pips. So for EU, so these trades can, so these assets can reverse to the upside. So remember, currently until the hourly closes below the 9 EMA, we're still bullish on US30. Now, if we do get the bullish hammer candle, I would rather take it on US30 other than EU. But for this EU trade, for you guys, go ahead and set break even. You should be at break even either way, because ideally our EU trades, it's 20 pip stop loss, 20 pip take profit. So for me, this one, I'm just riding it much further. But for any of our EU trades, actually US30 and FX pairs and even gold, it's 1-to-1. So we are risking 1%, not 1%. So our risk is 1-to-1, so whatever percentage you're using. So if we have a 20 pip stop loss, our take profit is 20 pips. If we have a 50 pip stop loss, our take profit is 50 pips. So normally for EU trades, if you took this, if you entered this at any given time, because this trade has been playing around break even even after the live session started, so you should have made like 15 pips. So this trade either way should have been should be at break even for you. So I'll set this as break even. Personally, I'm still holding this trade because I still expect
US30 bullish hammer worked again, man.
Was that a bullish? No, but this wasn't a bullish hammer though. This is a bearish hammer. So this is because this is a I know I've changed the color of my candles, but this is definitely a red candle, right? Yeah, so this wasn't a bullish hammer. This was a bearish hammer. So that wasn't a bullish hammer. But so bearish hammer candles can show one of two things. So they can show so normally when a bearish hammer candle is created, the next candle ideally should fill the wick of that candle. So a bearish hammer candle is ideally you have the closing price below the open price, and then you don't have that much of a wick at the top. So that's what a bearish hammer candle is. A bullish hammer candle is when the closing price is above the open price with barely any wick at the top and then a long wick at the bottom. So this candle right here would be a bearish hammer candle and not a bullish hammer candle. But I mean, if you caught that profit, and you can see it's rejecting from this, I wish there was a way to change that trend line indicator to make the trend lines a little bit thicker. Yeah, but right now I'm still waiting for US30 for another trade. So we've been having, during our live sessions, we get like 3 or 5 trades. Ideally, on a bad day, we get like 1. So I'm not in a hurry yet. Look at gold go. There you go. So unless gold comes back to 1967, I'm not looking to trade gold. Unfortunately, we don't have any sales, so I still see gold coming to 1929. So other than jumping in on impulse or drawing a trend line and waiting for, and if I'm drawing a trend line and entering trading with trend lines, I don't want to trade with trend lines for US30 for gold and EU the whole day. Like, no. Again, trend lines, ideally, they're not primary confluences, they're secondary confluences only during such days when we do not have any primary confluences. But if you guys entered this trade, whether you entered late with me, whether you entered in the original setup, you should have hit take profit. You shouldn't have gotten stopped out, but you can see how close that is. But that's what happens, right? It's trading. You just have to, what I'll say, if you take a loss, and your loss makes sense, just take it. You're not gonna win every day. You just have to keep moving forward. So for US30, let's see what's going on in the 1 minute. So we are still waiting for a lower high to be established on the what is it? On the 5 minute, but let's see, get a better picture on what's going on the 1 minute. Okay, so we have this trend line that's holding on the 5 minute. We have a higher high created. So what I see happening here, I see us forming 2 descending channels. So I see, so if I get this trend line, I see this happening. So this one will be a floating trend line until lower high is established from this higher high. So I see us having 2 descending channels. Let's see if we can find another channel for. So the ones I have personally on, I'm not gonna, anyway, I told you guys, so the burden of drawing trend lines is on you guys, so I'm not gonna be drawing trend lines anymore on the live session. Other than, I'm not gonna be drawing old trend lines. New trend lines, sure, but these other older ones, it's either you can start using that indicator, but definitely there's more trend lines than this one. If you draw them manually on your MT4, you'll see there's more trend lines than just this one. So it's upon you guys to be drawing those trend lines and not deleting them. So I'm still looking for EU and US30 to melt, ideally follow along with gold. Now here's another perfect trade, right? So if gold is to come back up here, so let me just give you guys an example, right? If we're to counter trend gold, and I'm not looking to buy gold at anytime soon before 1930, but if gold gets around 1930, 1929, and you can see we have an hourly bullish zone at around 1919 to 1914. So I expect gold to trend down for the, actually, it's not that far off. So I expect gold to keep trending down. So when price gets around here, guess what I'll do? So you can see my gold alert set here. So this is an alert to alert me when gold is crossing above the 9 EMA, actually, whether it's above or below, crossing the 9 EMA on the 5 minute. So if I'm looking for buys on gold here, what I'll do after, and this will probably happen after the live session is over, I'll just turn on my gold crossing alert, gold crossing 9 EMA alert, and then I'll just wait to get an alert, and then I'll just come on my chart and find entries for that trade. So that's one reason I've started using alerts. It helps you stay, it helps you avoid FOMO. It helps you just stick to your trading plan. And then just ideally saves your capital, because if anybody, like right here, if we tried to catch a gold buy right here, would have been burnt, whether it's here, whether it's here. And then, you know, due to psychology and being human, a lot of people would just try to be catching a reversal, a reversal, a reversal, and then every time you just end up getting burnt. But for example, if we got a valid trade in this buy zone and it was valid, just ignoring this, because I can see definitely there's support here, but that was heavily broken. If we got a valid trade down here and we got stopped out, honestly, I would have just come here, turn on my alert for gold, and then just wait until I get an alert that gold has come above the 9 EMA. And then at that point, I would look for an entry and possibly even go larger. So that's another reason why you guys should start using the alerts too. If these trend lines are confusing to you guys, so I think it's just one. So I'm not gonna take off that indicator for now. Yeah, but I don't like having this trend lines on TradingView, because already we have this horizontal line. So right now we are just waiting. This wick is, so this is a possible bullish hammer candle, that candle right here. But for me, a bullish hammer candle, the wick has to be 30 pips and above. So this one is 62 to 88. So that is what, 26. So it's a 26 pip wick. I'm not really looking to trade it, but we do have another trend line around here. If I'm looking at my MT4, we do have another trend line right here, but I am looking for sales on US 30 personally. But if I've already caught that sale, and I have an EU trade running, like already, I think I'm like 3/4 my daily goal, so I'm not really looking to risk too much. And you can see, like I've told you guys a couple of times, I don't like trading when we don't have any markups, when we don't have any bearish or bullish zones marked up for us. So I'm not really looking to risk too much. So today I might just take that US 30 trade, and then this EU trade I'm in with a 5 lot. I'm up right now about 10 pips. So it looks like I even got in a little later. So technically right now, if I close EU, I've already met my daily target. So remember, you only need 0.5% a day to pass phase one in 2.5 weeks. So, and that's the strategy here. So for anybody who's been taking my trades on the live session, you should have passed your phase one since we started this like a week and a half ago, or you should be almost passing your phase one if all you take is my trades. But if anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask. Today might be one of those days we just end the live session early, but if anybody has any questions about the strategies, go ahead and ask now. You can unmute yourself and just ask. All right, so yeah, so you can see we have that channel right there. So we have two channels. So we have this channel in here, and we have a possible, now if price, so here's what I can do, right? If price breaks this channel and gets into this channel and retest this trend line and closes below it, I might enter a short on US 30 there, but price has to come this side. Price has to come to the left. So what I would want to see is price coming in here, retesting here, and closing below here, and then we have this. So that's what I want to see for a sell. But so long as price is here, because price can easily close above this trend line, retest, and shoot all the way back up. But this is what I expect. And you can see, so look at the other candle, right? The hourly candle on my right. It's approaching the 9 EMA. Now, remember what happens when price approaches either the 9 EMA or the 200 EMA on a higher time frame. We get a rejection. So there is a possibility to catch as a buy on US 30 as a short scalp on US 30 on the retest of the 9 EMA on the hourly time frame. So ideally that will probably be around 32,445 area. So right now we are 30 pips away from that. So what we might see, so if that's what's possibly gonna happen, where is price likely to be headed, right? So honestly, this could have been a sell to this trend line, because this trend line will line up with 32,445 or will line up with the 9 EMA. So definitely I see price going to the 9 EMA. So that's a definite for me. So so this is a risky trade. I am testing out a sell on US 30 right now. I want to ride it to this trend line. So I want to ride it to the 9 EMA on the 1 hour and then catch a buy on US 30 again. So I told you guys there's no need of wasting this space in here. And definitely it is a risky, but at least it's a sell from the trend line. So I'm looking for price. So definitely the take profit. So again, it's 50 pips, stop loss, 50 pips, take profit. But you can see the stop loss is below the 9 EMA. The take profit is below the 9 EMA. So as soon as price touches the 9 EMA on the hourly, I will close that trade. So for me, price is back to entry. We do have a couple of, and it almost formed a bullish hammer candle. So this is definitely a risky trade. If you're in it, when I say risky or when I say go for 20 pips, just know if you're going to use a full lot size, that is on you. You should be using a smaller lot size. And there you go. I am looking and my MT4 froze. I'll have to close this on my phone. This always happens. But I need that touch of the 9 EMA, which I think we almost have. And there you go. See, so up 15. So ideally, this trade you should set in profit, set break even. I don't think we've had an exact touch of the 9 EMA, but I definitely see the 9 EMA getting tested. And we are at a trend line right now. So secure this trade at break even. So I'm still holding. I'm not gonna risk this too much. There you go. I'm closing it at 20 pips, and there you go. The 9 EMA now it's to look for. So these trades come up quickly. I am looking for a buy now. So for these trades, and I think Livy, if you're here, you're the one who's good at trading these trend lines. So let me know if we're doing it as should, but right now I am looking for a buy. So if you're in this trade, set break even, because we do have a trend line here that is holding price up.
I did, but I got out because of that other trend line. I didn't want to play with it.
Yep. So yeah, so there's a trend line right here, but I still I don't know if we got, I think I may have, I don't want to delete this. Did we so for anybody who has US 30 on the hourly, well, let me just delete this. I'll just redo it. So it wasn't even that, it was this arrows right here. So I'll just delete this for now. I want to see if we got a touch. I think we did, right? So it's almost there. So this will be tricky, right? So so price has broken that trend line. So it just touched the 9 EMA. Unless if you get into that trade, it should have been for like 20 pips. So price just broke the trend line to the downside. So I wouldn't actually be playing with this buy. So, but it retested the 9 EMA exactly. But for this particular trade, if it comes back down, just know, no, I don't want you guys to take this trade. So I'm not even gonna mark it up. So I'll just leave that because if you want this trade with me and want this trade with me, there's no need to risk this. So especially if you just missed the tap right there. So the reason I'm saying that is because there's a trend line to the upside right there, and price is
Ryzen, real quick. So you saying on that trade you had to get in on that at the tip of that candlestick, right? That's
yes,
what you're saying. So if you
yeah.
miss that, don't do it. All right, I got
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, because right here, and that's why I was trying to delete these trend lines because actually I wasn't watching the 5 minute time frame, or this is 1 minute. I was watching the chart to my right, which is the hourly. So I was looking for, so if I delete this, let me try and delete. Okay, that wasn't it. I don't know which one is. Maybe it's not that, maybe it's this one. There you go. So look at the 1 hour time frame. You can see an exact tap and spike to the upside. So this was about 440. You should have made like 20 pips. No, like 15 pips, right? So for this particular trade, even for me, I would have just gone for 20 pips. But if you miss that trade, and look at that, this trend line by that indicator is lining up with the trend line I had drawn. There you go. It's lining up exactly. So at least we know our trend lines are valid. But if price comes down here, do not enter this trade. Do not enter a buy. At the very least, if you're going to buy US 30, wait for the retest of the actual trend line. Because what's going to happen, price is going to come down here. So look at this. So when I deleted this trend line we drew, you guys saw that that indicator that I found for the trend line, it's lining up with the trend line that we drew. So US 30 is gonna break this. So in any case, you'd be trying to look for a sell. So the same sell we entered, but I'm not I'm not playing with this market at this point. That's just like I don't want to call it gambling, but you just get too excited for some of these opportunities because I can see a sell. But instead of selling at the 9 EMA, so the 9 EMA, if you're gonna trade the 9 EMA and 200 EMA retest on the hourly, you only have I would say, let me put it this way, you have one shot to trade it, because unless it's news time when you have a spike across the 9 EMA or the 200 EMA, if it's not a news day, a heavy news day, and by news days I consider them NFP, CPI, FOMC, if it's not that kind of a day, you only have one chance to catch that retest. So for this chance right here, there's no need to wait for a buy in the middle, because if price comes down here, where do you think price is headed to? Price is headed to this trend line down here. So actually, instead of buying there, just wait for price to retest the trend line and then catch that buy. But right here, we only had one shot and that was it, and it's gone. So that's why I stopped looking at the 1 minute. Actually, we should be on the 5 minute. I stopped looking on this candle, on this time frame, and then I came to the 1 hour and I was literally, oh, I didn't take the trade, but my finger would have been ideally literally on the buy button. And then when price would have touched the 9 EMA, I would have just clicked on buy, and then I would have made my profit. But we have 2 wins today. So this trade I took off at 20 pips. This trade hit take profit for 50 pips. So we should be, if you entered any of these trades with me, and for these trades, actually most of you should have gotten better entries, because for this trade I entered late. For this trade also, I did enter early, but price retraced a little bit above and came back down. So if you took these 2 trades with me, you should be up 70 pips for the day with US 30. And with that, I have met my daily target for the day. And let me see oh, look at, I should have closed EU. Look at EU. EU, you should have also hit take profit. So remember, our profit target for EU or for FX pairs is 20 pips. So this trade definitely, so if we change this to have 20 pips, you'll see that that trade should have hit take profit. Personally, I'm writing it for 50 pips. But right now, if you're still in this trade, you should be at break even. So it's fine. This retracement is normal. I expect them to retrace the 9 EMA and still go back down. So right now, if Yellen was saying what is it? If she was saying positive things about the economy, I would have expected US 30 to retrace up heavily. But right now we are in a downtrend on US 30. So Yeah, so at least we've caught 2 or 3 trades. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask. So what is exactly your strategy? Is it more so trend lines? Because I'm just trying to incorporate, see how I can look at your strategy with mine, which is more so order blocks.
Okay, so my strategy is so that's a good question. So how do I put this? So I don't have one strategy, right? So I have strategies. So my main one is order blocks. So let me divide the strategies into primary and secondary confluences. So primary confluences are order blocks, right? So
Mhm.
for me, what are the order blocks? This zones, and you can see. So for me, this is the perfect area for me to trade. I have an hourly order block, I have a 30-minute, I have a 15-minute. So daily when I start my markups, I start on the weekly time frame and start finding OBs or order blocks from the weekly time frame all the way down to the 30-minute. I do not mark up 15-minute order blocks. No, wait, I do. Okay, I'll clarify that last point. So weekly to the 15-minute. Now, next to order blocks, I look for supply and demand zones. Now, some people use supply and demand zones interchangeably, but for me, how I mark up the supply and demand zones, and again, so just to break it down, to me, what are the order block markups? It's the bullish high and bullish lows. Those are my order block markups. Now, the supply zones, so demand zone is shaded in green. Supply zones are normally shaded in red. That is for me in my charts. And normally, if you have like a darker shade of green so for example, darker shade of red within a red zone, to me is a supply zone within a supply zone. Now, how do I come up with this supply zone? So this supply zone is where higher time frame order blocks, so more than one order block. Okay, let me find a way to put it. It's where order blocks overlap. So if I'm making my markups and I find 2 4-hour bullish order blocks, and they're different candle sizes, I just look at the area where they're overlapping and then I shade that, or I draw a rectangle within that. So here, more than likely, it was maybe I don't get any rarely do I get any supply and demand zones in the weekly and daily. So maybe this was in the 4-hour, 1 hour, or 30 minutes. Now, the supply and demand zones, I don't draw them on the 15-minute. I only draw them weekly down to the 30-minute for supply and demand zones. So supply and demand zones for me are where order blocks. So for example, bullish order blocks overlap, bearish order blocks overlap, either from the daily down to the 30-minute. Now, that is the primary strategy, the primary markups, and those are the areas I like to trade. So right here, you can see we don't have any markup, right? And also, I always have a previous weekly high, previous weekly low, and previous weekly open, and then I have a weekly open, weekly high, weekly low. Yesterday, I did say that I normally start plotting the weekly high and weekly low on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not going to do it on Monday because price has barely moved. And then I have a Monday high, Monday low, and then a Friday high and Friday low. So in addition to this markups that are order blocks, I have those daily or weekly zones. Now, those are the primary markups, order blocks and supply and demand areas. Now you can see today, we don't have any of our primary markups or primary confluences to allow us to sell. So why was I looking for a sell on US 30? Price has been trending up. That's number one for a long time. And if we're going to catch a reversal, for us to catch a reversal, I need a closure below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute and retest of the 9 EMA and closure below. So this is why we took this sell right here. Second, we had news today, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen speaking, and I did anticipate her talking about the bank or the financial woes in the US of banks failing and all of that. So that is definitely not good for the economy. Still, overall, I am still bearish on US 30. If you guys have been joining the live session since 2 weeks ago, I still expect US 30 to go down to the 29,000 area. But for now, since US 30 closed above the 9 EMA, I changed my bias, midterm bias to like bullish. But today, it was fundamentals. And then it was this closure below and retest of the 9 EMA on the 5 minute. So now this is a secondary confluence because we are counter trending. The trend was heavily up. So only once did US 30 in that whole trend close below the 9 EMA on the 5 minute, retest the 9 EMA and close below again. This was the very first time. Okay, trend line. Why do I do trend lines? Trend lines, they help me see where price is headed to. So for here, when we started the live session, this higher high had not been created, right? But then when we saw this closure below the 5 minute, we needed the next candle to also close below the 9 minute. But remember, this we trade, personally, I trade on the 5 minute and US 30 is dropping. Personally, I trade on the 5 minute. This had not been created. So what did I do? I dropped to the 1 minute, and then we saw that the high had been established. We drew a hanging trend line. So we just drew it to touch this candle. This candle right here had not been, actually the original trend line was down here. So this lower high had not been established. So we were anticipating, so this trend line, I call it a hanging trend line. So when I draw a hanging trend line, the point of origin for any trend line has to be an established structure. So I couldn't have drawn it, I don't know, here, right? So on the 5 minute, I saw this coming up. So I went to the 1 minute and it was already established. So I drew it. There was no lower high established at that point. So I just drew it as a hanging trend line. I think it was touching this candle right here, and I just left it. So and then we were in this trade, we knew news was coming. And then what happened after price came back down to the entry point and then kept trending up, this lower high was established. So this was another confluence that price is now trending down. At that point, I just waited for news to enter. So I use trend lines to see where price is going and to tell me if my trade is still valid. So how do I know a trade is still valid while using a trend line? A lower high has to be, if it's a hanging trend line that only has a point of origin, for example, a high, I need a lower high to be established. If a lower high is established and I'm looking for a sell, well and good. I will, that will give me a confluence that my sell is still valid, if that makes sense. Now, the other way I use trend lines is to recover a trade. We did that yesterday where we bought US 30 in the middle of a trend to the downside, and then we got stopped out. And then when price came back to the trend line, we got a buy for US 30 and we were able to recover that to the upside, like with a good spin. So I use a trend line to show me if my entry is valid. And also the reason I do not delete my trend lines, especially the reason why I do not delete my trend lines, is to see where I can recover from if I get stopped out. That's it. So that's how I personally use trend lines. So trend lines, they are secondary confluence. Primary confluences are always order blocks, which are the markups we have, and the supply and demand zones.
Cool. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Let me ask you, what is your take? Because part of my strategy is price action and well, more so order blocks, but also indicators as well. So I pretty much use order blocks and indicators, as a confluence. So when I tie those together, it comes out pretty good so far. But what is your take on that type of strategy using order blocks and indicators?
Okay, so the first question I'll ask is what types of indicators?
Price action indicators. Well, actually, price action and order block indicators.
Okay, define price action indicators. Like what is that indicator telling you?
Buy, sell.
Okay, and what is it based off of, right? Because when you say price action indicator, the buy and sell signal, what is it? Because right here, like I have a custom indicator that I shared with you guys in the group, and this indicator is just like a 3-level semaphore indicator. You guys can look up that strategy, but I did share it with everybody. So my question is, that price action indicator that tells you to buy or sell, what is it buying and selling off of? Because right now, this indicator I have, it's this strategy right here called 3-level so like right now, if you ask me what does my indicator do, right, I'll tell you my indicator is based off of so ideally it breaks down. I think there's a perfect example somewhere. So it breaks down buy and sell zones into 3 zones. So the first zone is I'll break it down to small, medium, or likely, highly likely, mostly likely. Or is it, well, highly, no, likely, medium likely, highly likely, whatever. So level 1 is likely to buy, likely to sell. Level 2 is medium or partially likely to buy, partially likely to sell. Level 3 is highly likely to buy, highly likely to sell, right? So if I come back up here and look at that. We got a sell thing up there. I normally don't leave this on, but I can start leaving it on. But I've shared this indicator with you guys. If you guys are still new, I'll reshare it. It's free. So right now I'm doing most of these things for free. I just want you guys to learn. So this one right here, and you can see that's what the numbers are. But what I realized with this indicator that I had built is that level 3, so a level 3, 2, 1, a level 3 and 2, a level 3 and 1, a level 3, they are very likely to follow price action. And then what I do, my indicator also has like a signal trend, so I can do super trend, moving average, super trend plus moving average. But what I do here, I just do a squeeze filter. So what a squeeze filter does, it takes out buy and sell signals where price is squeezing from, so that I know when I get an indicator or a buy and sell indication, it's more likely to go my way. So now, right, I just described what my indicator does. So your price action indicator, what is it based off of?
Okay, that, you know what, that's a good question. That I don't know. I'm not even gonna try and figure out, say what all it does. All I know it's price action, and that's about it really. Now
Okay.
the other indicator, that is an actual order block indicator. So that pretty much, it pretty much labels the order block, because I like having the order blocks on my MT4, because that's where I really kind of like taking my trade, because I've noticed with the MT4 and trading view, sometimes there may be an actual lag.
Correct.
But yeah. So that's why I've got the order block on there, because that's what I really trade in, is order block. And then I've got that in the buy sell, which is kind of price action. I've just started using that. So, I'm really not 100% familiar with price action. I'm more so familiar with order blocks. I've been in Forex about a year now, and I started off pretty much in order blocks. And so that's what I've been doing.
Okay. So I would say, so definitely that makes sense, because there's this other indicator, the smart money concept indicator, that I did say. So personally, I do mark up the order blocks. Let me try and change this back. So I'll go over this my indicator again. We do have this smart money concept indicator right here that does mark up order blocks.
Yeah.
So
I've got the Luxago.
yes.
I've got that.
So I do personally, I mark order blocks up manually. It works for me. But I definitely recommend people to learn how to mark up order blocks manually. But if you're still learning, you can use the smart money concept indicator. Again, it's a free indicator. You can use it to mark up your order blocks. Now, the only the only thing I have with it right now, if I'm marking up an order block on the 4-hour, it will give me a bunch of zones. So like for this one, this is the 4-hour. I think it has a zone in here. This is let's see. No, that's mine. Okay, so most of them are within what I have. So we have one up here. We have this one right here that's within what I'd shaded. But this one, you'll have like a 4-hour bearish high, 4-hour bearish low here, and 4-hour bearish high, 4-hour bearish low here. But so keep in mind, if you're using this indicator to mark up bearish low and bearish high. So an example, what I mean by bearish high and bearish low, you see right now, if I take this off, you guys will see in the back, right here, in the back of this zone, like it will disappear. So I just want you guys to focus on the back here. So there will be, so the high of that order block, so it goes by time frame. So the high will be the 4-hour bearish high, the low will be the 4-hour bearish low. Now again, here there's another level that lines up with my levels. It's a 4-hour high and low. So you can do 4-hour bearish high, 4-hour bearish low. Now that's the only issue I have with the smart money one. But the other way to go about it, remember, for me, for any given chart, I need one bearish high, one bearish low, one bullish high, one bullish low. So if you get like you're having 2 bearish highs and 2 bearish lows, use the one that's closer to where price is. So like for today, if you're marking up the 4-hour bearish high and low, you would ignore this one that's up here, because you know what's the likelihood that US 30 is gonna go up like 1,000 pips in one day and we don't have heavy news? You know, yeah, right. It's not that likely. So use this one that's closer to price action. So same thing. I think I saw some bullish order block maybe here, and maybe there's probably another one down here somewhere. So instead of marking up the one down here, and this is going to save you time while marking up. So mark up, let me go ahead and take it off. I think this one lines up with what I have to. Yep, there's one down here. So instead of marking up the one down here, mark up the one that's next to price. So it would be this one right here. So at that day, for the 4-hour time frame, you have this one, and you have 4-hour bearish high, bearish low, 4-hour bullish high, bullish low. So yes. And to answer your question, yes, when using indicators, you can line those up together. So line those up together, find a strategy that works, and you're golden.
Okay, yep, okay, that's what I wanted to know. My man, appreciate
Yeah.
you, bro.
Mhm.
Appreciate you.
So right now we don't have much. So even on the 5-minute, I'll take off my indicator because this is just too much. But if anybody needs access to it, I think I pinned it in the group. Remind me to go over it to repaste it, or to repaste the what is it called, invitation in the Discord before I log off for the day. Yeah, but right now you can see that price is literally consolidating. Why is this on here? Oh, this is because we have that indicator. I don't need that. You can see on the 5-minute time frame, we don't have a lower high established on the 5-minute. But if we go on the 1-minute, what you'll see is that, so remember what I'd said, for me to have taken another sell on US 30, I needed price to come, which direction? To come this way, to come to retest this trend line, and then, no, not that. And then I enter a sell here. But look at what happened, right? Because we have 2 channels. We have this channel to the downside, and then we have this channel. Price did the opposite. Price went right. So if price is going right, this means we are having a possible bullish momentum. Let's see if we can catch. Don't tell me, let me see what EU is doing. So EU is back up. That's fine. I should have secured that. Also, I'm copying to another trade today, to another account. That's fine. I'll deal with that later. So what I can see here, so price did not break to the left. So breaking to the left, we would have been looking for sales. Price broke to the right, and we have a high low established on the 1-minute. So what I'll do here, I'll draw that on the 1-minute. So we have an uptrend forming on the 1-minute. We have a golden cross coming up on the 1-minute. Golden cross is when the 9 EMA crosses the 200 to the upside. So what I'll do, I'll come here to the 5-minute. Oh yeah, that is a bullish candle. So look at that. So this is the other way to draw these trend lines, right? So if you draw these trend lines and price breaks above that channel or that trend, and you get another trend forming, now we just need this to be formed as a lower low. So on the 1-minute, it's already been established as a lower low. So we needed to form as a lower low on the 5-minute. So for us to take this trade, again, we don't have any markups. So this is that buy we were looking for on the retest of the 9 EMA. But this time we might get the buy on the retest of the trend line. But for me to be confident with this trade, I need this to be established as, let's say, a lower low on the 5-minute. So this one will be 50-50. So there's still potential for US 30 to go to the downside. So I need this to be established as a lower low. So an early entry would be, so remember our entries are from the trend line. So that's another way we use the trend line, retest of the trend line. So our entries are either retest of trend line, retest of the 9 EMA, or retest of structure. I don't think we've had a retest of structure recently. So you want to always take the most optimal entry. So retest of structure would be up here. So it would be price to close above here, retest this and close above, and then you enter that buy. Retest of the 9 EMA would be ideally here. If this one retests the 9 EMA and closes above, so that would be that. The best entry, you're always looking for the best entry. Best entry would be retest of the trend line and closure above. But right now we need this to be established as a lower low so that we know that this trend line. So remember, we don't trade on the 1 minute. We only use the 1 minute to try and see where price is going. And then on the 5 minute, we need those levels to be established. So until this is established as a lower low, and I see it being established as a lower low and price being somewhere up here, and then we can get a retest of trend line and retest of the structure. So this buy might be right here, because right now, if you enter this trend line is not established on the 5 minute, right? It is established on the 1 minute. So this would be a mild, I would say it would be still a risky trade because price can come down here, break and close below this zone right here. So you ideally want your confluences to be on the 5 minute, and there it goes. And we're still bearish on US 30. Gold, EU, yeah, mostly bearish on US 30. So for this trade right here, I need a lower low to be established, and then I need that closure above. Now, the best thing, the only way I can take a buy here, this candle is 438, 497. Now, if this candle, we get a bullish hammer candle that closes above structure, I will buy that candle, but only if we get a bullish hammer candle. So what that means is that from where price is right here, this candle in the next 2 minutes has to reverse back up and become a bullish candle and close as a bullish candle. And then at that point, I will take a buy on US 30. But other than that, I need establishment of a lower low here to consider any buys. EU is still going. Ideally, if you went for 20 pips, you should. This is, so I'm just marking up. This is just my own. But for our official trades, this trade hit take profit. Even for anybody who entered during market open when price was still around here, you should have taken profit. But personally, I'm gonna keep riding this trade to the downside for 50 pips. So I'm not gonna count this, as I did not tell anybody to take it. I just marked it up. But this one's, I did say this one is a sell. I did call a sell here. We missed the buy from the 9 EMA. So ideally today's two wins, two back-to-back wins on US 30. EU, if you guys took it, well and good. We didn't have any trade on gold. But what gold is doing right now, this is the first time it's closed above the 9 EMA on the 5 minutes. So what do I see? I see a possible grab of liquidity. So I do see, and this hourly candle is possibly 1953. So this hourly candle is 100. What is that? 100 pips? No. It's a 10 pip candle. It might close as, and 10 pips is a lot for gold. So this hourly candle might close as a bullish hammer candle. So if this hourly candle closes as a bullish hammer candle, where do I see it closing at? Right? It might close above 1955 area. So this might be the buy for gold. I'll send this in the, because I know we're about to end the live session, but a pending buy on gold. Ideally 50 pips take profit, 50 pips stop loss. For this particular trade, honestly, I wouldn't set 3 trades. I would just try to go for 1 trade, because yeah, but anyway, we'll see what happens in the next few minutes. But if you're on the live session, a buy would be around 1955.38 area, and then 50 pips stop loss, 50 pips take profit. Okay, so that candle did not close excuse me, did not close above or did not close as did not give us as a bullish hammer candle. Close below this low, close below the trend line. Now again, so this trade is still on hold. Now, if we do get a retest, let me look at my MT4 because we might, yeah, we definitely have a trend line here. If we do get a retest, okay. So we have a trend line here that's going up. So if we get a retest of the 9 EMA, that might be a filler sell. But for me, there's a trend line going up right here on my trading on my MT4. But for you guys, I would say wait for the retest of the 9 EMA. I am in a sell right now based off of my MT4. But the perfect sell would be a retest of this trend line, but this trend line has not been established on the 5 minutes. So that's why we might have to delete this trend line. So ideally the sell would be a retest of this trend line or the 9 EMA. So short position, but I'm in this sell based off of the trend line I have on my MT4. So I did say that the burden of trend lines is on you guys. So I don't want to have to keep redrawing what I have on my MT4 when you guys should be able to. Now, if you don't know how to draw trend lines, you can ask on the live session and we can go over that. But I don't want to be taking time away where we probably could be catching trades to draw stuff that so the trade is at break even for me now, but that is the trade I'm on because there's a trend line on my MT4. So this candle broke the trend line that I have on my MT4. The best entry would be a retest of the 9 EMA because this trend line right here, I consider it invalid because we don't have an establishment of a lower low yet. So, and I do see price dipping. If price is held by this trend line I'm looking at on my MT4, I do consider price, I do see price dipping. We do have another trend line to the downside at around 32,328 area. So what I'll probably do, I feel like extending my stop loss to like 100. I'm sorry, extending my take profit to around 100 pips because my trend line on the next support for US 30 is around 32 to 28 to 30 area. But if we do get this break to the downside, it's going to be an impulsive break and this thing is going to drop major. So I'll delete this for now. Trade is still in break even. If you enter this trade with me, I'm basing this off of a trend line that I have on my MT4. So just manage your risk properly. And I don't know, I'm still going with half lot sizes. I should have increased my lot size. That's fine. Gold EU. All right, let's see what happens with this trade. And I think this will be the last trade of the day.
I did a sniper on gold on a trend line that you mentioned. It retested it.
Oh, for
I
with
did a
this.
fallout, so I just got out quick, that 400 profit.
Oh, nice, nice. Was it the what trend line? Like for this one or a trend line you had drawn before?
This one I had before.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I see it on my MT4 as well. Yeah. I do see that trend line on my MT4. Yeah, it rejected exactly and shot up for, yeah, it actually went up to like about 30 because the trend line was on this candle, I think, and then it shot up here. Yeah. All right. So this will be the last trade. We'll see how it goes. We'll stay on. I know we normally stop streaming at 11, but right now US 30 is still bearish in my opinion. So I'm looking to hold this trade. That's why I'm curious of extending my take profit to either the 200 EMA right here or 230 zone, which is where the next trend line is on US 30. But if we do break, if we So right now it's still retesting that trend line on my MT4. If we break there, we are gonna have a strong impulse to the downside. Same as EU. EU is also retesting a trend line. Does anybody have any questions about anything? So this one, and this is the best thing about feeler, I'm sorry, pending orders, you just wait for price to come up to you. I'll send this in the group, but I need confirmation for an upside move. So remember, US 30 gold and EU normally move together. So we're looking for for US 30 to dip. Gold, for any buys here, we need this to hold. We need this 9 EMA to hold, and we need a trend up. For EU, I'm still looking for sells. US 30, I'm looking for sales. So this gold this gold trade might not be valid. But remember, gold nowadays, because of all the financial crisis that's been going on, gold is a safe haven. So gold will move on its own. So it won't follow what EU has been doing. It won't really follow what US 30 has been doing, like in the next few months. If this, so still 3 more minutes. Now, if this particular 5-minute candle closes above the 9 EMA and closes above, so there's a trend line to the upside holding this sell right here. That's when you can reconsider your position. So if you get a spike up that closes above the 9 EMA and closes above the, so definitely if it closes above the 9 EMA, closes above the trend line, that's when you can reconsider your trades. But I'll just leave it like that for now. Yeah, so these are not my ideal trade. I mean, we did catch 2 amazing sells. And remember, if you did catch 70 pips right here, this trade, do not risk your whole 70 pips. You should be, for this particular trade, you should be risking like a third of your profits for today. So whether you use the 10 lot on these 2 trades, whether you use the 5 lot, whether you use the 1 lot, you should not be risking your whole profits for these 2 trades. The perfect days, and we get them like a lot. So this is just one of those days where we don't have price in our markup zones. So that's another thing, right? So other than just price going up and up and up here, price may come back down here and grab liquidity even to continue to the upside. So we do have this 15-minute and 30-minute zones, but again, I don't trade those zones. So US 30 in any case might come back down here. Actually, I see a structure on the 5-minute. It might come back down here, complete structure to the downside at around 32,246, grab liquidity and price to go back up for any continuation. But I do see, like literally looking on the 5-minute chart, I see structure to the upside, this one that needs to be balanced to the downside. So that's why I'm still looking for US 30 to drop, at the very least, to drop to this demand zone, 32,300, max 32,240 area. You're still trending up. If you're still in this trade, you should be at break even, or if you entered that EU trade. So let's see if we're gonna get this tapped, either take profit or stop loss during the live session. So I'll hang on for like a few more minutes. So it literally retested the trend line. I love this momentum to the downside. We just need a strong push and then we should hit take profit. Okay, so we closed right there with a somewhat bullish, bearish candle. You just need some volume to the downside. right, I will delete this since it's not established anywhere. This one also, it's only established on the 1 minute. Okay, and there, based on that indicator, it's drawing a trend line from this higher high to this higher high. That's fine. Let's see on the 1 minute, we have a lot of consolidation, but we can see this is a downtrend, higher high, lower high, lower low, lower low. So we are in a downtrend even on the 1 minute. We just need this structure right here to be broken. This candle, this trend line right here. Give me 1 second. I'll delete this second trend line, since even on the 5 minute, it should have been established by now, because this lower highs or these structural areas are established after 5 candles. So this is not established yet as a lower high. So until it's established, that's when we get a good trend line, but at least this one is established as a higher high. So what we can do, until we get a lower high, that's when we'll move this one trend line. So right now we can use that. So there you go. That was your ideal entry that I mentioned, a retest of the 9 EMA, which got retested. So in this candle, let's see how big it is. I might scale in 66 pips. No, 60. Oh, it's still 20 pips. I thought it was gonna close as a inverted bearish hammer. I need a wick to be 30 pips or more for me to consider it bullish hammer candle or an inverted bearish hammer candle, because at that point I could have just scaled in on the closure of this candle. But there you go. This was the perfect entry when I say the retest of the 9 EMA would be where you'd entered. So whether you entered up here or whether you entered right here, you should be in profit. But I just need this to drop down. We definitely have some. Oh, so the thing holding US 30 up, you can see what's holding it. Look at the hourly. So it's the 9 EMA on the hourly that's holding US 30 up. So they're definitely trying to break it. So definitely it can reverse to the upside because this is a higher time frame. So we are trading on the 5 minute, but this is a high time frame EMA. So it's being held to the downside by a smaller time frame 9 EMA. It's being held to the upside by an hourly EMA. But my bias for this one is completion of structure to the downside. So I'll still hold this trade. For me, the trade is still valid for a sell. If it hits stop loss, then that's fine. It's just a loss. I would still be up for the day. Yeah, so we need this 9 EMA to be broken to the downside. So this is just a waiting game. Let's see. Let me try and find if there's anything else that's holding this. Okay, so 30 minute closed below, retested, closed below. So 30 minute is ideally also showing bearish bias, so that's good. Hourly, that's what we are waiting on. 4 hour has its own mind, so no need to even look at the 4 hour. Okay, so 30 minute shows a bearish bias, so that's good. So ideally the 1 hour should be following suit. So we just need a good break and closure below the 9 EMA. So if this breaks, but the hour just started right now. I was gonna say if this was another hourly candle and it broke and closed below. Now, if I get a 5 minute candle that closes below the 9 EMA on the 1 hour, I might get into a heavier lot. Go for like 10 pips or 20 pips and just scale out, because I don't like holding trades after 11. Or I don't like being in trades after 11. So if I get a candle that closes, let me see, the 9 EMA on the hourly is around here. So if I get a 5 minute candle that closes below 32,440, I will personally, I'll enter with a bigger lot size, go for like 20 pips, and then that's it. Actually, let me just set that up. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any need of holding on unless you guys want me to stay on, but I don't see any need of staying on. Right now today we have 2 wins. We have 1 current trade that's running. Personally, I have EU. So EU should have hit break even if you were still holding on. So this trade I was holding on for 50 pips. But if you're using our strategy of 20 pips, you should have hit take profit, but I did not call this trade. I only set it up and got in before the live session started. We did not take any trade for gold. The only gold trade I'm looking at is for any rejection to the upside. I'll send this in the group, but it will be a pending buy order at 1955.38, but we need a good bullish momentum. US 30, we have 2 wins for 50 pips and 20 pips for this trade. For the second trade, if you held on and tried to go for 50 pips, you should have been out at break even, but I did say when I was getting out. This is the only other trade we are running for US 30, or personally I'm running. I got this trade off of a trend line. And still I entered with half of a standard lot size. And then I'll just reanalyze how it goes. There is another trend line to the downside that will probably hold price to the downside here. So I did miss entry of a trend line here. So if price comes around, let me see what this is. If price comes around 32,487 or 485 area, I'll see how price reacts around here and possibly enter into a sell with a bigger lot size so that I can recoup this loss. So 485 area, same thing.
What was your stop loss on that US 30?
So this was a 50 pip stop loss. So for me, the stop loss is somewhere. My stop loss on US 30 right now is 32,497. But if price comes up here, I expect a rejection to the downside based on a trend line on my MT4. So for that recovery trade, if I'm trying to recover quickly, I might sell US 30 here and then go for 20 pips, close out that trade and close out this trade. Let's see if that happens. So price is just playing too much. So if it goes back down to the downside, well and good. So there's 2 ways I can take another sell. If price comes back up here, or if price closes below the 9 EMA okay, so price closes below the 9 EMA below this zone, because ideally if it's below this zone, it will be below the 9 EMA on the 1 hour candle. So my other 2 sells on US 30, it's either here or here. But definitely I am still bearish on US 30. I don't see yet any signs of reversal. Even gold is going down. EU is the one that's only trying to go up. I'll see if I'll find this entry during this session. But for this specific trade, it will be a quick trade, and it has to touch exactly that zone and reject from it. Let's see. I need a rejection from it. So since we're on the 5 minute, that rejection, go to the 1. That's, and it's at the 200 EMA. Okay, so I'm in that trade right now because I'm just trying to recover, close both trades, whether it's at break even for both. And then, all right, so it's closing below. And you can see that trade closed above the 9 EMA on the 5 minutes. So definitely use proper risk management for, even though you're entering the second trade. I am trying to close both trades at break even. So I'm using the second trade to close the first trade. So hopefully you get a retest of the 9 EMA. So retest of the 9 EMA should be around 20 pips, 84. Yeah, so just around 20 pips. And then I'll just close out of both trades. So I'm using a bigger lot size for this second trade. So I don't need the trade to go too much into profit. And it can definitely reject back and come back all the way into profit. If that happens, well and good, but I don't like holding trades after 11 a.m. Eastern time. So let's see. I need to see how much I'm risking. All right, so for me, if these two trades hit stop loss, I will be risking, I will be down 1% for the day. So that is perfect. That is perfect risk management in my book. So if these two trades hit stop loss, so which means I'll probably lose this profit and this profit, I'll just be down 1% or maybe 0.9 for the day. So that's good in my book, but I just need this trade to go. Actually, let me change that so that you guys don't have to. If you want to hold it for 50 pips, well and good. I am just trying to catch 20 pips for this trade right here.
So you're looking for it to come and mitigate that candle?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
Because it just tapped into an order block.
Yep.
And then it looks like it's not 50% of that order block, but it looks like it may come down and mitigate that candle.
Yeah. And which might align because we have this closure above the 9 EMA, so we might have a retest of the 9 EMA and then before any push to the upside. But I just don't want to be trapped within this price action. See, okay, so US 30 might start being bullish right now, so that is definitely not good for any buys. That's fine. Gold is still going down. EU is starting to go down, so and also that might align with this trend line that's on the 1 minute. But you can see there are definitely some buyers around this zone. But definitely this is not a trade I want to be in. So it's down, so come on. Actually,
I just closed mine out.
yeah. If you guys are smart, when price was down or when price comes down here for like 5, if you did enter with a bigger lot size and you close out around here, you'll just be down. Like for me, I would have just been down $200 if I close right here. But you know, I'm just being greedy, which is not good. Yeah, but I'll let them play out. If this hits stop loss and this one hits stop loss, I'll be down 2%, no, 1% for the day. And that's fine, 1% for the day. I think yesterday I was up 4% for the day. So on my MT4, this trade just hit stop loss, the first one. Let's see. All right, so there it goes, a low. So let's see what this trade. So this trade hit stop loss. I want to see what the other one does. So still definitely that trend line here. Price can reject from this trend line and go all the way up. Let's see. So I'm at break even on that one trade. I need to take I need 20 pips to hit in order to recover that. Or I should just be smart and close if price comes back down here. So if price comes back down here and you use the bigger lot size on this, you can take your profit here if you don't feel comfortable. Because what's happening now, they're retesting that trend line and it looks like they might close above on that trend line. So if this candle closes as a bullish candle, I would say close out of that trade if you got in with a bigger lot size. 83. So this candle is what's going to tell you what price can do, because they're definitely testing that trend line they broke to the upside. So you should be back in profit with that bigger lot size. So here is where you can either close half and risk just the other half, or you can just take the L from the one trade. But for me, I'm willing to risk 1% for the day today. So right now I am only up. This is like 0.1%. So yeah, so if that trade hits, I'll just be down 1% for the day. Oh, 1.2. There you go. Okay, perfect. Ideally you should close at the retest of that 9 EMA, but I am holding this. Come on. Now if this candle comes back up, like, so right now you should be thinking about, if this candle comes back up 493, 473, if this candle comes back up and closes as a bullish candle, it will be closing above the trend line. So this was the smart place to close that trade. If you did that, you should have recovered, or you should have just been down a little bit from these two trades. But given me being me, I am holding this trade because I know if this closes as a bullish candle, I am ready to possibly catch the move to the upside. So I'm still holding that particular trade. But for you guys, you should have been out. So you've had a lot of chances to be out, unless you're ready to be down like 1% for the day. That's the only way you should be holding this particular trade. Oh, this session today has been so long, an hour, almost 2 hours. Gold is still going down. EU is possibly going down. So that's good for a US 30 sell. But you can see this 9 EMA on the hourly is, and now the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, it's what is holding that price down. Yep, that's 50 seconds. So that's what's going to tell you. If that closes as a bullish candle,
So if it closes as, yeah, because I was gonna go in for a buy if it closes as bullish, but if it closes as bearish, then I was gonna wait.
yeah, if it closes as bearish, I'll just wait. Because if it closes as a bullish hammer candle, it's closing on top of that trend line that's on my MT4. So there's definitely sellers here. Question is who's gonna win between the two? Three, two, one. All right, you close below the 9 EMA, that's fine. There you go. Just need some good momentum. Honestly, I'm tempted to do 50 pips and close half at 20 pips, but I just want to get done over and done with this trade because I don't like trading at this time. We need to break this 9 EMA. Now, the other thing, if this trade hits, the other thing I'll be on the lookout for is the 11, this hourly candle, because if we get a push to the downside, this candle might close as a bearish candle below the 9 EMA on the hourly. So if this trade hits, take profit. So right now, for you, if you entered with a big lot size, you should be out on this retest. Right now, unless you're just willing to, so the only reason you should be in this trade is if you're willing to be down 1% for the day. If you close out this trade right now, you should be up for the day, right? Yeah, because right now I've already recovered my loss, but I'm still in the trade. There you go, full TP on that trade. Perfect. So now we need to watch. There you go, full TP on that trade. Either way, you should be on break even because we only needed 20 pips. If you want to write this for 50 pips, sure. And I should have looked at this trend line. It's fine. But I do see price coming back down. But either way, if you hit stop loss on this first trade, you should have and you re-entered with a bigger lot size, you should have been up. There you go. So I'm up for the day 0.5 or 0.6%. Yeah, so that's it for the day. Patience as a trader is a big thing. Stick to your bias. If a trade gets taken out, it's fine. Remember, as a trader, you do not actually, in anything in life, nobody wins every day. Even hedge funds, they don't win 365 days out of the year. So look at for US 30, look at this hourly candle and put an alarm for 12:05 or something of the sort, and then see how this candle closes. Because if this candle closes as an inverted bullish hammer candle, 500 to, yeah, that is a 60 pip wick. If this candle closes as an inverted bullish hammer candle, wait for the retest of the 9 EMA on the hourly, and then you can enter a sell. So same way I was saying that if we get a closure below this zone right here, which would align with closure below the 9 EMA on the hourly, I would go in with a heavier lot size. So observe this hourly candle on US 30 for possible sell continuation. I am still bearish on US 30. And right here, look at that, right? We want to draw trend lines on established zones. So that's why I deleted this trend line from here to here. I deleted this trend line from here to here because they did not get established. Right now we have a lower low. So this trend line is what's going to tell us. And if we get a break of this trend line, retest of this trend line, and break below and closure below, we do have another possible sell on US 30 at around 32.4 something. I'm not going to send that in the group because it doesn't align with any of our primary markups. So this is just like for your guys' knowledge about how to trade that. If you do trade that, do not risk today's profits. Regardless of the stop loss we hit, we are still up for the day. Personally, if you took every trade I took, you should be up 0.6% for the day. But other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow unless anybody else has any questions. Okay, perfect. If nobody has any question, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. All right, bye.
All right, see you. Thanks.
Mhm.